I'm sorry, I can't marry you. My parents would never accept such a poor daughter-in-law. I just smiled and walked away. They had no idea who I really was. Days later, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. I met him at a coffee shop on a Tuesday morning in October. He was rushing and clipped my shoulder on the way to the counter and sent his entire coffee down the front of my jacket. It was a $12 thrift store find. Olive green, slightly oversized, the kind of thing I wore because I liked it, not because I was trying to impress anyone. He was horrified. He offered to pay for dry cleaning 3 times. I told him it was fine and meant it. We ended up sharing a table for 2 hours because neither of us wanted to leave. He never asked what I did for work in a way that felt like an evaluation. He asked because he was curious about me. There is a difference, and I had been around enough people who didn't know the difference to recognize it instantly when someone did. I told him I worked in logistics. He said, "That sounds interesting. Tell me more." So I did. I liked that he drove an old car and didn't apologize for it. I liked that he split the check without making it a statement. 6 months later, he took me up to the roof of his apartment building on a Wednesday night with a blanket and a bottle of wine and got down on one knee with a ring he had saved up for over 3 years. It wasn't flashy. It was exactly right. I said yes before he finished the sentence. Then came the dinner. His parents had chosen the restaurant, a private room at their club, the kind of place with a dress code and a wine list the size of a textbook. I wore a navy dress I had owned for years. Clean, well-fitted, not a label anyone at that table would recognize. His mother looked at the hem of it before she looked at my face. I noticed. I filed it away and smiled anyway. His father asked about my family within the first 10 minutes. What did they do? What was their background? I gave him the honest answer. My mother was a nurse. My father passed away when I was 19. I grew up in a 2-bedroom apartment. I worked in logistics and had built something I was genuinely proud of. The table went quiet in the specific way tables go quiet when someone has said something that doesn't fit the room. His mother smiled and said how impressive, in the tone people use when they mean the opposite. His father refilled his own glass and didn't offer mine. 20 minutes later, they asked him to join them in the hallway. I sat alone in that private room and listened to the muffled sound of a conversation I wasn't supposed to hear and didn't need to. I already knew what was being said. I had known since his mother looked at my hem. When he came back, he stood at the edge of the table with his hands in his pockets and said he was sorry, that his parents felt strongly, that there were expectations around the family name he had responsibilities to. He said it in a voice that was trying to sound kind and mostly just sounded rehearsed, like he had worked through the words on the drive over. I picked up my purse, stood up, walked around the table and shook his father's hand and his mother's, then I left. I didn't cry in the car. I went home, made tea, and went to bed. 3 days later, our city's business journal published its annual 40 Under 40. The cover ran my name, my photo, and the headline, "The Woman Who Quietly Built a $900 million Empire." I own the logistics company, 14 locations across 6 states, 430 employees. I have owned it for 11 years. His father's firm had been trying to get a meeting with us for 8 months. My operations director had the email chain, 22 separate outreach attempts through intermediaries. None of them flagged as urgent because nothing about them suggested they were. His mother called at 7 a.m. the morning the issue hit newsstands. Then his father. Then him. Then an unknown number, which turned out to be his father calling from his office line when the cell went to voicemail. I let all of it go to voicemail. My assistant compiled the messages into a summary, as she does with non-urgent calls. His mother's used the word misunderstanding 4 times. His father's was mostly about the business partnership and pivoted to family only in the final 30 seconds. His was the shortest, 41 seconds. I was told it ended with the word please. I sent one reply from my business account. 3 sentences. "Thank you for reaching out. We are not currently pursuing new partnerships in your sector. I wish your family well." I have not heard from them since. The ring is in the back of my desk drawer. The thrift store jacket still fits. And every morning I drive to an office I built from nothing and sit down and do the work, the same way I always have. Some people look at a woman in a $12 jacket and see a charity case. I look at a $12 jacket and see someone who never needed anyone to hand her anything. Those 2 people were never going to work out.